This patch was filled with item adjustments, so meta builds for many champions are on the move. You know we've got you guys covered though, as in today's video we'll be bringing you 10 builds in total, 2 for each role that you need to start running for 14.15. And did you know mastering your champion will boost your win rate by a massive 9% on average? That's why at SkillCapped we offer Smurf commentaries. Simply select the champion you want to master and get guides from challenger experts teaching you how to play your champion in the exact rank you're stuck in. You're even guaranteed to have all your questions answered by that very same challenger expert. After that, take one of our 5 brand new courses that teach you the secrets to carrying as a top laner, jungler, mid laner, AD carry, and support. It doesn't stop there. We have new Season 14 courses on macro, wave control, trading, setting, and hotkeys, CSing, vision, mechanics, low elo mistakes, the list goes on. The best part, you can try all this out completely risk-free. Since if you don't rank up while actively using SkillCapped, you get your money back, no questions asked. So what are you waiting for? Click the link in the description below right now to get the rank you've always dreamed of. With Cosmic Drive buffed for this patch, along with Cassiopeia receiving adjustments, it's the perfect storm for her to really thrive up in the top lane. Build aside, the changes that Cass received for this patch make her early game all-in power extremely lethal, and you can really take advantage of that more consistently when playing her top as opposed to mid. The longer lane gives Cass the ability to chase down her targets and finish off kills much easier, and there are also more melee champs played in the top lane, which makes landing that harass way easier. Now, as for the build, the whole idea behind the setup is to provide yourself with the most amount of kiting power as possible. You do this by rushing Rylai's, going into Archangel second, and then finishing off the core with Cosmic Drive third. Rylai's rush gives Cass incredible kiting power from the passive slow, while Cosmic Drive is going to offer bonus movement speed. A lot of Cass players like to run Rod of Ages, but especially because Cassio's later game is a bit weaker now, going for this more snowbally rush of Rylai's is what we would recommend. Rune page is going to consist of Conqueror with Presence of Mind, Haste, and Last Stand, followed by Mana Flow and Transcendence for secondaries. A top lane champ who's going to be getting a lot better for this patch due to the mage item buffs is Kennen. Reason being is because Kennen can take advantage of 2 items that are being buffed. Rocket Belt has been the staple rush item on Kennen for a while, so the fact the item is getting an extra 100 health is great for him. It's the Storm Surge buffs that are going to shake up Kennen's builds though, as the item had fallen in priority, but now with the buffs it's going to be a really great second pickup. Most Kennen players are running Shadow Flame as their second pickup right now, but we would definitely recommend you try out Storm Surge for 14.15. As a matter of fact, the 2 item core of Rocket Belt and Storm Surge was already winning more than Rocket Belt with Shadow Flame in recent patches, so there's no reason to avoid Storm Surge any longer due to its buffs. The 8% movement speed from Storm Surge combined with the passive movement speed you get allows for Kennen's R plays to be that much more lethal. If Kennen can stick onto his target, he's got no issues at all bursting them out, so this movement speed from Storm Surge is a massive benefit that it has over Shadow Flame. Definitely look to give Electrocute a go as well as Kennen's Keystone rune. With the damage and cooldown buffed on Electro in the early game, it gives Kennen stronger bully strength, especially against melee tops. A setup that's been really under the radar over the past few patches and that's become even better for 14.15 revolves around Dark Harvest on Poppy jungle. Most players in solo queue right now are running Phase Rush for the Keystone rune, but those taking Dark Harvest are winning about 3% more. Dark Harvest was buffed a few patches ago and it's buffed again here in 14.15, so there's way more incentive to run the rune now. Here's what the full rune page is looking like as you take Dark Harvest with Cheap Shot, Eyeball Collection, and Relentless Hunter, while Celerity and Water Walking are for secondaries. You can also go for a more offensive snowbally rush item when playing Dark Harvest, as Eclipse works really well. Enemies will not expect your burst power at all because this kind of setup is not very popular on Poppy, but it's extremely powerful because of that. After building Eclipse, you will want to transition into more tanky items so that you can team fight well in the mid to late game, so Sundered Sky and Dead Man's Plate are standard second and third purchases. A build that used to be quite popular at the start of Season 14 that eventually fell off but is now back for 14.15 consists of Storm Surge on Elise. This is a Storm Surge rush as well, and believe it or not, Elise players who had been rushing Storm Surge in previous patches were actually winning more than those going Lichbane. With this information, it's really a no-brainer that you should be rushing Storm Surge now since it's getting even better. You're actually going to want to drop Lichbane from the build entirely, as the 2 item core will consist of Storm Surge and Shadow Flame. You've got the Magic Pen coming out of both items, so the one-shot power against squishy targets is absolutely nuts. It's not just the Storm Surge buffs that are giving Elise a boost this patch either, as the Dark Harvest buffs are great for her too. The rune page you should be taking is Dark Harvest with Sudden Impact, Eyeball Collection, and Relentless Hunter, while Triumph and Coup de Grace are for secondaries. Aurora has been out for a little while now, and we finally have a pretty good idea of what the most optimal setup is for her. It's not actually what the majority of Aurora players are running either, as most are rushing Rod of Ages. Drop Rod and try out the Malignance rush. Our challenger analyst Hector actually just completed a full game commentary where he runs Malignance on Aurora, and it's now up on our website for you guys. So why Malignance over Rod of Ages though? Well, so much of Aurora's power comes from playing off her R cooldown. The champ has such incredible teamfight presence whenever the spell is up, but struggles a lot more to be impactful while it's down. So what better way to have your R available more often than running Malignance, as it provides ability haste for your R cooldown. Second item, Liandry's, is very standard with all Aurora builds right now, as both passives from Liandry's synergize very well with how Aurora wants to play. As for the third pickup, it's a Cosmic Drive, which has even been buffed for this patch. Even though Fleet has been the better performing keystone on Aurora in the higher elos throughout 14.14, it's nerfed for this patch, so we definitely recommend you try out this Electrocute page. It's Domination primary and then Precision secondary that is working the best for Aurora. A lot of Aurora players are going Sorcery secondary, but Precision is heavily outperforming, so give it a go. Sylas has received some pretty big adjustments for this patch, as Riot has reduced his AP ratios while giving his W health scaling. This in turn makes a squishy AP setup consisting of Lichbane and Shadow Flame a lot less attractive. There is an AP Bruiser setup that should gain a lot more value this patch though, as Cosmic Drive has always been a solid pickup on Sylas, so with the item getting buffed, slotting it in second will be much better. Rocket Belt has also been buffed for this patch, so it's going to be a really great rush option for Sylas. Rocket Belt has actually been a very high win rate rush item on Sylas in recent patches, but has just been overshadowed by Lichbane, so with the changes to Sylas and now that Rocket Belt has been buffed, definitely look to give it a go. A bunch of Sylas players in the higher elos have even been liking Rocket Belt quite a bit in recent patches, so we definitely think it's going to be the most optimal rush for him moving forward. The rune page is going to be different as well when running this more Bruiser-like build, as Electrocute won't be as valuable. Instead, you should be taking Conqueror, as you're going to be able to stick into fights for longer to stack up Conqueror and take advantage of it much more. The full rune page is Conqueror with Presence of Mind, Haste, and Last Stand, while Second Wind and Unflinching are for secondaries. There's a setup that becomes a lot more valuable for Jinx in 14.15, as dropping Kraken Slayer as your rush in exchange for Infinity Edge will suit you really well. With Kraken nerfed, it brings more priority to just rushing Infinity Edge, as Jinx players in previous patches who were rushing IE were actually winning more than those going Kraken. You just have a lot of follow-up burst potential when going the Infinity Edge rush, as the extra AD gives your W and R a nice boost in damage, especially if you are paired up with a melee support who can deal a good chunk of damage themselves when engaging. Rushing IE so that you can quickly burst out that target your support jumps on works amazing. The complete 3-item core that we would recommend you try for this patch revolves around Infinity Edge with Phantom Dancer and Bloodthirster. IE and BT provide a mass amount of AD, while Phantom Dancer slots in as the attack speed pickup. Now, it's not just the build that you'll want to be changing up for this patch, as the rune page will be looking different with Fleet Footwork nerfed. Press the Attack has already been the better analytical performer on Jinx in recent patches, so you're going to want to run it more often now moving forward. A rune setup that has come in and out of meta over the years that you should consider picking back up for 14.15 consists of Dark Harvest on Jhin. With Fleet nerfed and Dark Harvest buffed, it's the perfect storm for Dark Harvest to rise back up in priority. You're just not getting nearly as much early game sustain from running Fleet now, so you might as well take Dark Harvest to amplify damage output. Without question, you should be looking to run Dark Harvest when paired with a very aggro melee support like Leona, Nautilus, or Blitzcrank, as they'll be wanting to look for engages in lane, which should give you the ability to farm a bunch of stacks from Dark Harvest. Here's a look at the full rune page, as it's Dark Harvest with Taste of Blood, Eyeball Collection, and Treasure Hunter, while Presence of Mind and Cut Down are for secondaries. As for the build on Jhin, especially if you are going for this Dark Harvest rune setup, you will want to be going for a more AD heavy focused core with the Collector as your rush and Infinity Edge second. Static Shiv Rush was becoming more popular on Jhin in recent patches, but now that the item is nerfed, going back to rushing the Collector will be the play. We featured this new Seraphine setup in our recent solo carry video for 14.15, but we wanted to include it in the OP builds video as well for those who may have missed it. Seraphine support has seen a pretty big win rate spike over the past patch, and it's mainly due in part to this new build. For the longest time, Seraphine players have been running Dreammaker or Realm Spike for their item upgrade, but recently the focus has started to shift over to Solstice Slay. Lots of high elo Seraphine players are now running Solstice Slay and are winning way more than anyone else. Across all elo brackets, Solstice Slay as the item upgrade had a 54% win rate in 14.14 over 22,000 games, which is a crazy stat line. So what makes Solstice Slay so good? Well, it just synergizes so well with the new build that you run on Seraphine, which consists of Echoes of Helia and Moonstone. Helia and Moonstone both work really well in tandem with heals, and by running Solstice Slay, you have another way to heal your teammates other than using Seraphine's W. You're going for even more defensive power with the rune page, as it's Guardian instead of Aerie. Guardian is just going to provide a bigger shield than Aerie, so especially when against comps with a bunch of assassins or dive champs, it's going to provide very nice value. A really interesting under-the-radar support pick that you can run to some great success right now is Shen. We've seen Shen support pop in and out of the meta in the past, but it has been a while since he's had value in the role. With Warmogs as strong as it is, and with how the support meta is aligned, it's giving Shen support a lot more viability. You can pick Shen as a really good answer to Leona, because when Leona tries to dive in, you've got your taunt to keep her off your carry along with your W that can block her Q stun. Shen's R is also a really hard counter to many melee supports because they want to all in and burst out a target very fast, but with Shen Shen's R shield, you negate so much of that all-in power. Bloodsong as the item upgrade is going to work great for Shen because whenever he dives in and taunts a target, he's guaranteed to proc Bloodsong's bonus damage. Warmogs as the rush item is amazing for Shen because his R shield scales off of health. Warmogs provides 1000 bonus health, so it really amps up the shield from Shen R. The rune page that you should be running is Aftershock with Shield Bash, Second Wind, and Revitalize, while Cheap Shot and Ultimate Hunter are for secondaries. Alright guys, one last thing, our rank up guarantee is insane. It's like signing up for the gym and getting a refund if you don't get ripped. That's how confident we are in SkillCapped. We obsess over making the best guides with top players, rigorous testing, and top tier video editing to make your climb easy. If you're ready to level up, visit SkillCapped.com and see the difference. So there you have it guys, 10 new builds that you can look to try for patch 14.15 that are extremely powerful for solo queue. Thank you all so much for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.